Hey, what's up guys? This is Soul with some more horrific vision commentary. Today we're back on our little discipline priest who managed to grow up just a teensy bit from last time, but it was enough to complete a 5-chest run of Orgrimmar by himself. A link to his armory is available if you click the link in the description below, but let me give you the rundown. His item level is 440, using only gear obtained from completing visions and outdoor world content, with the exception of a trinket that I bought off the auction house and this trinket that I got from that anniversary that raid time walking thingamajigger. His neck level is 72. His main essence is the Crucible of Flame, and the others don't really matter much. Now let me explain the talents in slightly more detail. Schism is his primary nuke for single target baddies that need to go down quick, so I timed this with Penance and the Crucible of Flame. Body and Soul is for a quick speed boost with a push of a button. I opted for Mindbender because I'm going to pull more targets at once. Power Word Solace is a decent nuke, but I wanted to have a pet that can help clean up small mobs. Shining Force is used in those rare moments that I need to interrupt ads that I cannot quickly kill. Sins of the Many is a simple DPS boost. I took Divine Star over Purge the Wicked because a lot of smaller mobs tend to die without me having to reapply dots and things just happen to work out. I have a feeling that if I try going for mask runs on this character that I'll probably switch back to Purge the Wicked. And finally, I took Lenience for damage reduction. My Titanic research tree thing is kind of a disaster with a wasted point in the second tier, and I expect for group play even though I'm soloing, so real good. But I do have Elite Extermination now, which is pretty much the breakpoint where you can start considering a full clear. The only buffs that I'm using are Power Word Fortitude and Ghastly Goulash, the food that restores 2% HP per second, so I wouldn't have to worry about self-healing. Hopefully, this run can demonstrate that you can accomplish a clear without having to stress over getting like the best gear ever or running things that you don't want to and so on and so forth. Of course, that's sort of cancelled out by all the experience that I've gained running these, but whatever. Let's just get started with the commentary. So I noticed a little bit later that I started without my food buff. I think I just, afforded myself right now, and then I was like, oh man, let me put on that goulash. No, wait, that's not gonna happen. I might as well just wait. So I just go ahead and get started. So this run is gonna look really familiar from a lot of my other runs with only slight modifications. So I guess I just ate the food now. But yeah, there aren't too many modifications apart from just like some of my behaviors and I guess a little bit of luck. So as always, I open up a Schism, go straight for the Shaman, and just nuke this guy down before he causes problems. But of course, that damn totem always happens to go off whenever I don't want it to. But apart from those two mobs I just kind of ignore, and now I'm being a bit more reckless. I'm relying on Echoing Void, which I should have mentioned. That's my one good corruption trait. I'm relying on Echoing Void to help out with some of the damage once again, and otherwise I'm just pulling more. You notice that I finally got Shining Force off correctly in order to take out that mob before he got his horrifying shout off. Shout, horrific shot, horrifying shot. Oh well, not a big deal. I'm opting to skip potions once again, and I'm just going for the Shaman right over here. I should be dotting guys up. I think I was just kind of hoping I could take out the Shaman very quickly, but that definitely didn't work out, so that's kind of a slip up on my part. But typically I should have decent luck with taking out that Shaman without too much trouble. The others, however, they're not that big of a deal. I'll just rely on small things, little dots here and there, maybe consider reapplying them, but in this case I can kind of leave them alone and just watch them die and mount up and get going. Very slowly, I should add. So as usual, we're going to start off with the Valley of Spirits. I'm going to dot all 4 of these guys up real quick, get some Echoing Void stacks running, or otherwise some extra damage out, and otherwise run straight for the Decimator. Open up big, long, and hard with everything that I've got, and of course, dodge everything that I need to. The madness that we have to deal with this week is Entomophobia, so it's got to jump every, I think like 7 to 10 seconds or so to feel comfortable. Which always is a bit more of a pain as a caster, but at least as a healer with a reduced health, there's considerably less for me to worry about. So with that guy dead, I got a good chunk of sanity left, and I'm definitely not clearing as fast as my main, obviously because of the gear differences and some of the corruption differences. Echoing Void is good, but it's not, it doesn't have the oomph that some of the other essences have. So you can see I'm kind of pulling a little bit more than I normally could. This comes with the experience of knowing how much you can handle, and the whole thing about Horrific Visions is just trying to get through with the bare minimum. So if you're going for a 3 chest, just go with the bare minimum. If you're going for a 5 chest, just go with the bare minimum. I get that a lot of us want to try and be comfortable with the runs that we do, but in a case like this, where I'm just trying to gear from local sources, outdoor content, world bosses and such, you are going to kind of stretch things out a little bit more. You're going to challenge yourself a little bit more, and that's why I kind of enjoy this this mini handicap by just working with content that is, like, for the most part, most current. So those guys down, and of course I didn't want to do too big of a pull. My HP just would not be able to handle the kind of throughput and the kind of damage that's going out there. I'm able to move on to this pack, take out the shaman real quick, and then move on to the next one. The only mob to really take to pay some attention to are these tormentors here because of the mental assaults. And elsewhere, there are also mind carvers that cause fear, but I don't believe that they show up around this area. The berserker's only a bit of a problem because it can self-heal every now and then, but otherwise it's not that big of a deal. So we're a little bit under half sanity at this point. I don't remember what I did, actually. It looks like I just kind of went for it. Open it up with a schism, open up big, pop whatever I have, especially deploy dots and everything right before the hopelessness goes out, since I can't say with any certainty how long I'm going to be unable to use abilities. So thankfully I'm able to dodge those waves. I've had some pretty bad experiences with those lately, but this time around not so bad. And now I'm back at half sanity, 3 orbs, ready to move on to the next objective. I hear that going in the different order, by going through the drag and then shooting to Rexxar, that theoretically will be faster. In the end, it's really up to you to decide which routine works for you best. So now we're entering Gara'jals area. I believe I dotted up that ad that I passed by, and now just moving in. Is he coming? Nope, not coming. Come on, buddy. There we go. So we're bringing them all in. And it's pretty amazing just how little life these guys have in comparison to if you happen to be on a DPS character, which is going to be my next project. Can I get away with a fairly low-geared DPS character that doesn't, farm for Blood of the Enemy or any of those other hard-to-get or hard-to-farm for essences? It's just kind of an experiment of mine to see, to kind of test the theory of, do we need these things in order to complete the content that we want to? And in this case, it's Horrific Visions. I know a big part of it's corruption, I'm not going to lie. But at least in the case of my priests, Echoing Void has not been a very big factor. So as you can see, my sanity is running pretty dangerously low. I could have popped an orb a little bit sooner, or even considered using food, if that's possible. But given this essence here, which is the one, I forgot the name of it because I don't see it on screen, but it's the one that will fear you periodically. This works outside of combat, unfortunately. So there are moments, there can easily be moments where you want to eat, and all of a sudden the fear is about to go off. And if you're eating the kebab, the one that's supposed to restore sanity, the moment you use it, the 3-minute cooldown kicks in. So if that fear happens to go off, you will get interrupted, and you will screw yourself out of both that sanity and the cooldown. So instead of going straight for the next guy, straight for the elite, because I still have plenty of sanity left, I have to go backwards, clear a little bit more trash here, so that way I spend a little bit more sanity, and that way once I kill these elites and I get it back, it feels more worth it. So that's the kind of mindset that you want to have when you want to consider, okay, how much killing do I want to be doing? So for this one, I open up big. I don't really care too much about the mobs, the smaller mobs, apart from dotting them up. For the most part, AoE and such will take care of that. But most of my focus is going to be on the big guy over here. You can see that those blobs, they still have kind of a lot of life. But I'm relying on abilities like Divine Star, which I totally aimed in the wrong way, but it's not a big deal. But here's where I make good use of body and soul to get away from the sanguine. If it goes off, it's some pretty nasty sanity damage that you take, and it can wear you out extremely quickly if you're not careful. Especially if you happen to have a lot of ads running at the same time, all of them doing attacks, and you might just get yourself killed by HP loss, not even sanity loss. So now with that guy dead, I'm just going back and going for this, for the second elite. Because now I have plenty of sanity, a sanity deficit. And it'll definitely be worth it to kill him this time around. Make sure that for Howling in Pain, that's one of those kind of ranged kicks. You just want to make sure that you're not casting at the time, otherwise you'll get locked. For something like Penance, I think I just got lucky and did not happen to get interrupted during the Penance. That was not skill, trust me. It was just it just worked out that way. But now we're taking on this the next area boss, and as always, pop everything. And I think it's a good habit to get in close, even as a caster. That way you have a little bit less to dodge from the Ring of Chaos there. There'll be less repositioning that you have to do. Of course, things look a little bit hairy. You're going to have mobs that are just wailing on you. And in the case of my Discipline Priest, it's a little hard for me to just keep tab targeting and dotting while this boss is doing his thing as well. And otherwise, starting to close off your small area with the Defiled Ground move. So you can see I'm starting to lose space. It's a little bit rough trying to get through here, but it's quite manageable. I think I could have utilized my Divine Star a lot better. So there it is right there. And it does do some pretty decent damage, especially if it happens to crit. But now that we're done, it's time to head back. And we're at a little bit under half sanity. 2 orbs left. And plenty of time. Plenty of time to make mistakes too. So let's try not to do that. So we'll climb up and take on the Shield Bearer. I've noticed that I've had less luck with trying to get all the way here and open the door before the mobs here can get to me. So in this case, I just decided to take them out right away. And then once the door opens, of course, Tentacle. Now, I didn't talk about the Tentacle in the previous area, but these guys can be a huge pain, especially for casters. And for those of you who also play casters, you can definitely feel the pain of whenever you're trying to get a cast off and all of a sudden the Tentacle disappears and you lose target. It makes it even more painful if I happen to be casting Penance and the Tentacle decides to disappear in the middle of that cast. So that means not only does the cast not fully complete, it's now on cooldown. So for whatever reason, this guy, I happened to be really messy on this. I was getting pushed back, I was being knocked around. I think I got caught by Entomophobia as well. And check it out, that damn Tentacle is still alive. I swear. I hate this thing. I hate it forever. But now we're back to a more normal routine. Take out important targets, like in this case the Dominator, and the other ones, they don't really matter too much. At this gear level, if you're going for a 5 chest, there's a lot of things that these smaller mobs do that don't really matter too much. It's like, okay, I can get away from the Tentacle and its knockback whenever it pops back up, but it's not like a huge deal. Unless, of course, if you're a caster that doesn't have a whole lot of instant spells. And that's kind of the mindset that you want to have when you're doing any of these runs, is that you want to be able to spec for abilities that you can use on the fly. because there are going to be many moments where you'll be moving and you don't want to be stuck attempting to cast. So whenever you have an opportunity, depending on your class and spec, if you can go for instance, go for it. Even if it feels like I'd say, even though if it feels like it's going to be a DPS loss, if you can retain that kind of mobility, it'll go a long way. So I opt for an old tactic here, where I pop an orb right over here, so that way I can get that mob that just ran out of the door, as well as the mobs here. Thankfully, the Dominator goes down really quick with a couple of well-placed crits, and now we can focus on the other two guys, who happen to have a little bit more HP than normal, but it's, you know, it's not that big of a deal, right? Don't forget to jump. Another reason why it's important to have a lot of instant spells whenever possible. And from there we can relax a little bit. So here's a good time to use a kebab, because there are some moments like there are some moments where you're not able to click on these barricades for just a few moments, and that's a decent time to use a kebab. Now for the next guy. Cooldowns are available, so good timing on my part, and now we're just ready to go nuts. So this guy can be a little bit tough because I mean, Disc Priests do have the burst to get through a lot of this, and they do have the tools to easily dodge Void Torrent. It's not super bad. But the second time when trying to deal with Cries of the Void, it might be a little tougher to get through. You just want to maybe hope that you have either stacks for your Crucible of Flame to see if you can get an extra nuke out, or just kind of time your DPS so that way you would focus your damage on breaking the shield, because the shield will pop up. Depending on your sanity level, you can kind of just take it too. But later on, especially when you start doing mask runs, then it's going to be something that you would want to consider less. So Misha here, isn't really a pushover, but it kind of is a pushover. Her abilities are pretty darn easy to take care of. It's actually these scarabs that are a little bit more annoying. But they don't do a whole lot of melee damage, so I can opt to pull more of these guys. There's kind of a shortcut here that's available for you as a healer. You can kind of keep yourself up as you travel, and you can in fact skip this entire area. I don't have footage of it, unfortunately, but basically if you just walk to the left of this entrance, you can climb your way all the way over to Rexxar's room. You just need to have the self-heals or otherwise defensive cooldowns to survive going into these blackened areas. In this case though, I'm doing a more traditional run, because it works out just fine as well. So this time I opted to change my path a little bit, and I've done this on my main as well, where I go off to this ledge and I pull these mobs here. So that way I don't have to worry about them later. That stun can be mighty annoying for sure. And from there I just kind of hop over, bypass a couple of those packs over there, accidentally get that scarab, go me, and then go for the boss here. So in this case, I'm going to turn turn this guy around, so that way then if there is a knockback or anything, I'm not going to be affected by it. And from there, I just treat it normally. Get out of swirls, take some of the damage, which is, you know, simply going to happen. And otherwise, I just kind of climb up this hill a little bit. And that's it. Not so bad, unlike other times that I've done this fight. So, and from there, with this one last pack, don't forget that this guy does a nasty knockback, and you don't want to get knocked back into the black stuff. So there's that. And otherwise, the rest of the abilities here are fairly easy to handle, except, you know, of course, watch out for the explodey stuff, because and of course these mobs, they do stack a poison buff that if you can cleanse, cool, but I regularly forget how to cleanse, and so I don't. I don't even recall if priests can cleanse, so feel free to nail me on that in the comments, please. But now we're dealing with Rexxar, and as a priest or as a healer, it's pretty hard to find some recourse apart from killing the boars. But it can be a little bit hard to kill the boars because you want to kill the boss too, and so it's kind of a battle of attrition, and you got to decide what's going to be your best bet. Now, since we are doing a 5 chest, and I have no more orbs available. However, since I have no silences and I don't have a lot of burst, there's not much I can do except just kind of eat the damage or eat the sanity damage. So I do 1 Shining Force to interrupt them, and otherwise I'm just gonna start taking sanity damage, which isn't all that well advised if you have a low-level cloak. But in this case, it's high enough. It's high enough to get through. You just got to make sure that you avoid some of these other things here. I think I got hit by one of those stampeding Sha because I saw a -30 corruption, which is of course not good, but it wasn't so bad. I still have a little over 2/3 of my sanity left, and I'm ready to go. It's time to take on Thrall. But overall, this was a fairly decent run. It could have been better optimized for sure. Now that I've learned about some of these skips, I could probably utilize that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that my priest can skip just about all of that area and go straight to Rexxar. That would save, it would save probably at least a couple hundred sanity. So I go straight for the boars, dot them up, light them up as hard as I can, because these are the ones that are going to cause some really big sanity hits if I just let them free cast. And that takes care of those, and now it's just him. So at this point, it's just a race. I have a little bit less than half my sanity available. Thrall has 1.2 million life, which isn't a whole lot. A little bit of burst is really all it takes to get through it. Especially if you happen to use things like Bloodlust or cooldown pots. That, of course, would go a long way. Neither of which I have available, but it's something that I can easily overcome. All it really takes is some good play and hopefully some good camera angles, which sometimes is not happening. But otherwise, not so bad. The nerfs that Blizzard did for the healer spec, they seem much more extensive than I initially thought. I thought, hey, that's really good because healers really don't have the kind of throughput. But the fact that it's been nerfed this much by half almost, it really makes a difference. And there we have it. Thrall is dead. So what do you think, guys? Think he can do it? If someone like me can, on a character that I don't really have great proficiency on, I think you folks can do it too. So that's going to be it from this character for now, unless I decide to start doing mask runs with him. That's certainly going to be a challenge. But yeah, that'll be it for me. Let's take a look at the last bit of loot, and we will see you for the next video. I didn't get anything good, by the way. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Until then, though, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.